Howdy, folks. Widget Walls from needcoffee.com here. Back again for another Wayhomer review. Here's how it works for the uninitiated. I have just left the cinema. It's out over there. And I've seen a film. And I'm going to tell you about that film on my way home. Because it's just easier that way. And today, we're here to talk about the remake of Robocop. Okay, so... first of all, thanks to Madman for hooking me up with a pass to see Robocop ahead of schedule. So, synopsis is this. Apparently, this is the remake. This is the remake synopsis. So apparently, we've got a lot of, robots helping us to fight crime worldwide. I have no idea what is vibrating. I hear something vibrating. I don't know. It's probably you. Are you doing that? Quiet, you. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh yes. So America military is using robots pretty much across the board worldwide to keep the peace, because of course that's our job to do worldwide, apparently. And there's legislation in place basically keeping robots from walking the streets of America and fighting crime, which, could go either way depending on what story you're in. However, we're in a story where the technology appears to be a little bit iffy. So, the head of Omnicorp, which is the company that makes all these robots that really, really wants to bring them stateside, decides, hey, you know what we need? We need a mostly dead cop. And we need a mostly dead cop to put inside a machine so that we can have a Robocop. And we can have the Robocop as a sort of a way to mix the best of both worlds. We have the machine, which can make decisions and move fast and shoot things. And then we have the human being, which can be touchy-feely and have emotions and cry, wasting precious moisture, which when you don't have a lot of body left is something that you need to be very aware of. So, anyway, Alex Murphy is a cop who gets on the wrong side of some bad guys, which is what normally happens. His body gets pretty much toasted, and they put him inside the machine Robocop to sort of prove to the American people, hey, here's a robot with a human side. Aha! But it is more sinister than that. And that's all you need to know. So, okay. First of all, let me say this. People watching the trailer for this film sort of annoyed me, okay? Because before we even talk about the film, all right? What I was hearing about the film based on the trailer is, oh my God, they gave him a human hand. Oh my God, he's black instead of silver. Oh my God, they're not going to have the shotgun the handoff thing. They're not going to have toxic waste street trash guy getting smacked by the car. Oh my God, you mean they're actually going to remake the film in a way that Gus Van Sant would not understand, right? So that's what you people are upset about. Get off it. It's a remake. If you want to see the same film over again, go watch the same film. I mean, I'm not saying the remake is a great idea. I'm not saying all remakes are a great idea. But if they're making one, for God's sake, just go. I mean, you could probably get the Criterion Robocop used for a decent price if you don't already own it, because it's worth owning because it's Criterion. So that really sort of, hacked me off. Because I'm like, okay, on one hand, yeah, they're remaking Robocop, and what can you possibly do to Robocop other than, reshoot it? And at least, you know what? I don't think I ever heard the term reimagination. They may have used it, but I didn't hear it, and it makes me happy. Because I hate that term, because it's bullshit. So, but, what you can say from the trailer is that you have this tremendous cast. You've got, Michael Keaton being evil, which is good, and he's good at it. You've got Gary Oldman being sort of, conflicted, and he's Gary Oldman, so he's good at that. You've got Jackie Earle Haley playing Jackie Earle Haley, which is good. He's good at that. You've got Jay Baruchel. No, it's Baruchel, right? I think so. I I hope I'm getting the actor's name right, because I don't take the time to look anything up, because all I have time to do is tinkle and get in the car. So he's great, bit of comic relief. You've got Jean-Baptiste, who's in it. She's great. You've got this great cast of people. So, the trick is, though, you can have this great cast of people. Do they do anything with them? Oh, and by the way, Sam Jackson, who was there tonight, I didn't, he's in town apparently shooting The Cell, and turned out to say hi to everybody. And I know he watches these, so hi Sam, how's it going? Your wig was awesome. All right, so you have the cast, but do you do anything with them? Yes and no. Yes, because you have this great sort of subplot going that becomes the plot that Alex Murphy, of course, somebody tried to kill him. So, and I'm not giving anything away, it's in the trailer, he goes and tries to solve his own murder, which is a wonderful, sort of plot that's been used before to great effect. And that whole thing is when it really starts to kick off, and the evil people become really evil, and people choose sides, and you have great action sequences that actually work. You have, in fact, I mean, here's the thing. You know how you can very quickly go, okay, I can see where this is less of film than a commercial for a shoot-'em-up video game. And there are some glimpses of that, but you also have a really great fight that takes place in the dark, except for muzzle flashes, which I know that doesn't sound very impressive, me here driving in the dark telling you about it, but it was actually kind of cool. So you have that whole thing rolling, and once that starts rolling, then the thing just rolls all the way to the end, and it does so, I think, fairly effectively. Here's the problem. The problem is, it starts rolling about 1 hour and 20 minutes into the film. And the film is not that long, okay? The film is, I didn't get running time, but I don't know, 2 hours or so? So, once it kicks off and starts having a bit of a party, then it's fine. But it's that whole setup sequence of the whole, we've got to do stuff to his brain, and we've got to figure out the balance between man and machine. And I understand what they were going for, because I mean, the whole story is now about how does this guy who is basically, because I mean, this is a question, right? Wolven will back me up on this. There's a question about at what point are you not human anymore? Because we are slowly going to become cyborgs, which I'm all in favor of, because my knee's already screwed up, all right? So I would like that replaced quickly, please. But I'm just saying, at what point, how much of yourself can you replace and still be human? And then can you retain your humanity even though you're mostly steel? So that's not a bad thing to deal with. That's not a bad, question to have to ponder over the course of the film. It's just that the setup takes a long time to do, because surely we could have done that a bit more efficiently, and then still had enough time for, motorcycles going through windows and smacking giant robots and stuff like that. Surely we could have had that. And that would have actually made for a better film. If you have the setup of that bit streamlined, and then more bits in between of action before the main action sequence kicks off, and then the whole thing goes to hell. Because there is, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a great scene where you finally see what's happened to the poor guy, and it's pretty intense. But so from there I'm going, okay, now things must happen from here, because this is heavy duty stuff, and surely they wouldn't, put another like 20 minutes of setup and stuff like that after this, because this is good. That's really well executed. And yeah, they kind of did. So yeah, I mean, that's the thing. If you can make it through that first hour 20, and I did. I know my cell phone was really, I dimmed it all the way down so I can actually check the time, because I hate to get out here and go, oh, it was 3 hours before things started off, and you're like, you idiot, it's an hour and 40-minute movie. So yeah, it was about an hour and 20, hour and 25 minutes in when things kicked off, Now, but when they kicked off and they kept kicking, which is what we like. I just wish it had kicked off sooner, because you had this great cast, and yes, once it kicked off, surprisingly, here's what's really weird. You have this cast who is doing a bunch of stuff, right? Casty things, to sort of lumber the story to the point where it can kick off. And you would think that once the action gets started, that there would be less for them to do and more explosions. Well, there were more explosions, but there was still stuff for them to do, and they did it really well. And in fact, the heightened tension of the action seemed to make their bits more effective. So, there's a way to have your cake and eat it too. Now, the only other thing I will say is that I don't know the guy Kinnaman, I think the actor's name is, or to use my previous pronunciation, Kinnaman. I don't know the guy that had to play Alex in Robocop. He has some moments, but unfortunately, for the most part, his acting range is for him to act like a machine. So there's not too much for him to do, and I don't know how much of the action stuff is actually him, because you can't have too much sprinting around in that suit, I wouldn't think, because it seems a bit bulky and weird. I don't know. So he's fine, because what they gave him to do is just basically be a tabula rasa for most of it. But and it's nothing on him, but it's just there's so much other stuff going on around him that was actually alive, that was sort of hard to get invested in him. I just almost wanted stuff to blow up. So what does all this mean? That's a fascinating question. What I think it means is this: the cast is worth seeing in the film, and that basically last third or something of it is really worthwhile. Should you see it on the big screen, though? I don't know. I think if you're a total Robocop junkie and you just cannot live with yourself if you don't go see it on the big screen, fine, but do see a matinee, okay? But I think most people, unless if you looked at that trailer and went, I'm in, then fine, see a matinee. But if you looked at that trailer and you went, I don't know, then wait, okay? Because it'll be out on Blu-ray in 3 months. That's not a judgment call on the film. All films are out on Blu-ray in 3 months. Even if they're still in the cinemas, they're out on Blu-ray in 3 months. It doesn't matter, okay? So yeah, I would say wait if you can, because we're all in a mind to save some coin. Now, cup-wise, what I would say is, for most of it, I swear, I was going right down the line with about a 2.5. But when it finally did kick off and stuff started happening, I was a little bit more pleased. But just the more it happened, I went, well, you're showing me you can do this. You just didn't do it for the first 80 minutes that my butt was parked here. So I'm going to go with 3 out of 5 total. It could have been, and look at it this way, it could have been a lot worse. So they obviously put some effort into it, and they need some credit for not just, I don't know, for actually trying to tackle a theme in a film like this, instead of just going for, hey, why don't we just dial down the brain stuff? Why don't we act like they do in the film, and why don't we assume the audience are all automatons and they'll just enjoy whatever we feed them? No, they actually tried to give it some depth. So respect must be paid. So 3 out of 5. There you go. All right, so that's another Wayhomer in the can. And again, thanks to Madman for being kind enough to extend a seat to me on the Robocop yacht for tonight. It wasn't actually on a yacht. I have no idea why I said that. It's the meds. So, and speaking of meds, one of the ways that I'm not going to tell you to fund meds. I'm going to tell you to fund Wayhomers, because really, if you think about it, Wayhomers are better than medicine for most things that don't require medicine. So yes, if you do enjoy these things, please do us a favor. Do us 2 favors, in fact. Share this on Facebook, on Twitter, on Pinterest, on whatever, on the bulletin board down at your local coffee shop. I don't care. I honestly do not care. Just please spread the word. I really appreciate it. And if you do enjoy these things and you want to see more of them, do us a favor. go over to needcoffee.com/support, and there's a way to create a a tiny reoccurring payment that would help us out a lot. I know we have lots of viewers on these things. I really appreciate all of you watching. If everybody gave like 99 cents, like not even for one of these, but just a month, that would go a huge direction into helping to pay for things like a better mount. I'm so happy that thing hasn't fallen off yet. You have no idea. I'm almost talking to see if it'll happen, but I know it's not going to because I'm saying it will. It'll wait until I've stopped. Anyway, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Wayhomers. All right, fine, I'll say it. Thank you for your cooperation. Sorry. It sounds better like this. Thank you for your cooperation. There you go.